116.03 in the 100% category, and a 54.38 in the 80% Warpless category, which is what they will be racing in today. So the name of the game is get through the game as quickly as you can. And they'd be starting by now. Okay, we're off. Looks like it's going to be World 2 to start. And they get 4-4 as their opening level. So as you'll see today, all the levels have been scrambled, and many of the enemies throughout will also be scrambled. So, for example, instead of seeing a Goomba, you might see a Koopa Troopa, and so forth. Or you'll see the Sun or Boss Bass throughout. So, opening level went pretty well for both players. Classic moving on up to 2-2, which is 5-1, another fairly easy level to start off with. Nothing too challenging about this level, other than the bottom. When you reach the bottom, it can be a little dicey, and Jet takes an unfortunate death from a chain chomp there. Well, he gives it another go. Classic moves on to the first fortress, which is the World 3 Fortress 2. Not a very difficult fort. He's skipping the power-up, going straight on through, which is a good strategy here, in that Jets really wants that star. For a few tries, he gets it. Classic threading the needle with the booze. And has no trouble with Boom Boom. Looks like Jet's got his music set to rando to cause some oddly inappropriate situations. So 2-3 is 5-8 today. Another fairly short level where the Lakitu can be a real troll if he wants to. But otherwise, pretty straightforward, and oof, took an unfortunate hit. Navigates past the Lakitu and gets through just fine. And another Lakitu is waiting for him. Does a little stutter stop there at the end to avoid 5 lives, though. In my experience, getting 5 lives early on is not the worst thing in the world. The desert is, well, it's in the same world at least. It's 2-2. Power up instead of a mushroom is a star. Well, he's not going to turn that down. Trying to use it to get through the first half of this, and oh dear. Ran into a slight problem there. Confirm what Clara said. Yes, the so-called lost levels, all 8 of them are included in this version of the randomizer. And most of them are kind of beta levels and variations of what would become actual levels in Mario 3, but they're still interesting. Kind of interesting to see what a first draft looks like. So Classic Gamer makes the second time count. Jet falls victim to the same thing he did. Gamer skipping the end card and goes to 2-5, which is 1-6. You get end cards every 80,000 points, and the end cards are randomized, so the orders you learned to memorize in the vanilla version of Mario 3 do not apply here, I'm afraid. Another unfortunate death for Jet. Having a real tough go of it. He might want to take it slow the third time around in this level. Especially since there's no mushroom for him to use. 1-6, no problem for Classic. And he gets the coin ship, which are relative novelties in vanilla when you're doing a vanilla speedrun, but here they're actually fairly frequent, and Classic speeds through and gets a Lakitu Cloud. That Lakitu clouds and hammers are very useful in this, especially the hammers, which allow you to break not only boulders, but lock. So, he used the cloud relatively quickly to skip the pyramid level, and he moves right on to the World 5 airship. Morton. So the Koopa kids are also randomized in that their hit points, in this case 2 hits, as well as their attributes. They could have Ludwig and Roy's ability to shake the ground, or they could have Wendy's jumping ability. But in this case, it was pretty vanilla as far as that goes. Jet decided to go through with this and is in 7-2, and looks like Classic got a hammer suit from the princess. So finished World 4 in 5:11, and he got first level of World 4 is 6-5. Which can be, which in some respects is actually a little easier than the vanilla version, just because the enemies you encounter at the top of this plateau here are randomized, so it's not those little whatevers. Well, there is one, but so it was good of him to use the Koopa shell to clear the decks a bit. Jet gets through 7-2. And Classic picks up another... Oh. I realized he hadn't done the pyramid. So, Classic goes on to 4-2, which is 3-4. Trying a little harder to get the speed. Oh no. It's unfortunate. Taking a death with the coin chips, so he misses out. See if the power-up is still a Lakitu cloud. Yes, it is. So he didn't lose out. We go for the second Hammer Brother, and it's the Fire Hammer Brothers. So you'll notice that all the Hammer Brothers are randomized in this. He gets a hammer for his trouble. That could be useful in World 4. Allows him to skip the first 3 levels. Get him back into this. So Jetabb 4-3 is 5-4 today. Oof. Oh, I'm sorry. The fortress. I'm sorry. The pyramid is 5-4. 4-3 is 7-1, and Classic takes a quick death there. So he's going to try and go for the 7-1 skip, which is where you hit the wall at a certain subpixel. Try and skip through this, and it's something you just have to learn with practice. And Classic, obviously being an accomplished Mario 3 speedrunner, should know it, and he gets it. I think that was at the 5th or 6th try. So that worked out pretty well. Had to use his hammer suit to do it, but worked out. So, and it's a vanilla World 4 fortress. Telling me it was 10 tries. Nice jump there by Classic. Bypass the thwomp. 2 and 3 jumps for Boom Boom, and that's it. So 4-4 is 5-7. Not a terribly difficult level, though. The enemy placements, because of Rando, can cause some trouble, especially early on. But the Spiny caught him there. It's unfortunate. See if Jet's going to take the hammer, use the hammer to skip the first half of World 4. Yes, he is. Good. That's a good decision. He uses the music box to bypass the Hammer Brothers and goes to 4-6, which is 6-7, which is an auto-scroller level, but you'll notice there is no auto-scrolling here. That's because it's been turned off in the randomizer with 2 exceptions. 5, 9, and one of the lost levels are still auto-scrollers. Everything else you'll see from airships to levels like that are going to be a question of speed. That Hotfoot's giving Jet some trouble, gets around it. And more vanilla in World 4. We sure this is really a randomizer, folks? I mean, come on. 2 fortresses in a row. Next thing you're going to tell me Iggy's airship's going to be vanilla. Oh, no problem for Classic. Okay, so we got Wendy's airship for World 3. Jet indulging in the end card game and gets a couple of items. Looks like one of them is a sledgehammer, a hammer suit. I keep saying sledgehammer, hammer, and Tanuki suit. So Iggy on flat ground, taking 3, 4. It takes 4 hits this time. And Classic, taking the long route, needs only about 6 minutes and 20 seconds to run through World 4. So he's off to a very good start here. Jet is taking a couple of lumps here, but he seems to have found his stride after a rough World 4. And do what the king says. If you're enjoying the stream, follow our 2 runners today. So World 6 comes up now, the longest world in the game. See, and unfortunately, because of the pipe placement, he's gonna have to take the long route. If he had a hammer, he could have skipped the first couple of levels, and if he got really lucky, he could have gotten the pipe that's after the first fortress, and would have allowed him to skip two levels in a fortress. Hammer Brothers give him the troll, being trolls in the worst possible way, making him do it again. And 6-1 was 3-8. No boss bass for Classic to worry about, so he sailed through that level, no problem. So what's he going to pick, 6-1 or 6-2 or 6-3? Pick 6-3, and it is our first lost level. This level is kind of a variation of 6-4 and a little bit of 4-2. Not a very difficult level, very short. As you can see, with the raccoon tail, he was able to sail through that no problem. So, Hammer Brother comes down, and it's a fire Hammer Brother, unfortunately. Takes a hit, but he gets a P-Wing as a consolation for losing it in the first place. So he goes on to the fortress, and it's the Desert Fortress. Hotfoots are making his speed strats a little more challenging than he would like, but he gets through the first room okay. Another Hotfoot is waiting. He skips the power up and just goes straight into the spike room. Oh, he missed the speed jump, so I think he's gonna have to wait for the. Yeah. Oh, he just gets in by the door. Oof. Well done by Classic there. Jet going for the item box before going to Iggy. Overall, we got 2 worlds. Classic's about 4 levels ahead, and goes and gets another lost level for his for himself. This is kind of what 5-7 would end up becoming. think. Again, more of a beta level than an actual level, and not very difficult. But the enemy placements can trip you up sometimes and keep you from going, full speed ahead. So 6-4 in the books, so he's going to 6-5, and he gets the first of the 2 auto-scrollers in the game. This is kind of I think he took a death on purpose there. I think he'd rather see what's on 6-6. And it's another beta level. It's the 1-5 beta, so we got all kinds of lost levels today. Rams his way through, and I don't blame him for an intentional death. I think that's a very astute move, especially for a level like that, which is actually pretty long. I think that's, in some cases, that's a good move. If you got a choice between 2 levels, you might as well roll the dice and see if there's something better. I should have done that yesterday in my run. Instead of 6-3, I find out 6-2 was the quicksand level. I took 7-5 and ran it through. Who looks dumb now? So 6-7 is 7-7, another pretty short level that is popular among the speedrunners. I think he's playing it kind of safe here. 3rd star, and slides under the pipe, and he's through. No problem. So Jet, countering another lost level. This is a variation of 7-2, I believe. Or kind of 7-2. We got more vanilla with our fortresses today. The second fortress is, in fact, the second fortress of World 6. Classic bypasses the sliding thwomp. Gets through. The boom boom fight in here can be a little tricky because you're on an icy surface, but it shouldn't be any problem for him. And it isn't. Pencil strats. I'll have to remember that one. So he's through the fortress. We've burned through most of the lost levels already. That's kind of interesting. 6-8 is 5-2. One of the levels that is 2 paths, the top and the bottom. You always want to take the top. And the top is much faster and easier. The bottom is a little like 6-6. That there's a lot of enemies in a really tight enclosed space. Five two, no problem for Classic. Goes on. He gets another dual choice. 6-9 or 6-10. He takes 6-10 and he takes another intentional death on 5-9. The other auto-scroller. Don't blame him one bit. And he gets 5-5 in 6-9 instead. Much faster and more generous level. Burned a P-Wing to do it, but this level, it's not that big a deal. So yes, as Clara's just said, both auto-scrollers found. Don't have to worry about those anymore. And the third fortress is the World 8 Navy stage. Ooh. Oh, I thought he was going to get past it. He timed his crouch correctly. He just straightened himself a little too soon. Fortunately, he doesn't get to keep that bomb to fight Boom Boom. So, third fortress down. World 6 fort is airship is Morton. So Lemmy will be on a uneven ground this time, which isn't a huge deal, but it can make things a little tricky. And oh, he's going to take more than 3. He takes 4, but Classic, no problem there. And Downs World 3 in 2008. So he's really cruising. Jet following Classic's lead and takes the intentional death. I left my wand in my other frog suit. Well, okay. World 1 is up next. Still not going... I don't know if he has any hammers. This would be a good one to use it on. Although, he gets to see that 1-1 is vanilla 1-1. Though, a lot of the speed strats you adopt for speedrunning do not really work here because of the enemy place being all wonky. And to answer your question about why the second auto-scroller is in there, I think it might be a programming issue. I know with 5.9, that's because of the way the level is designed. I'm not so sure about this one, especially since they didn't make 7.4 an auto-scroller. More vanilla in World 1. Like I said, are we sure this has been randomized? That's like the 5th vanilla level we've had today. But at least 2 fortresses, and I think 3 levels now, including 2 in a row, have been vanilla. But the enemy placement certainly hasn't been. Yes, Fred. F. Coughlin created the randomizer. And it continues. World 1. Continuing with the vanilla plays. Oh! I'm surprised he didn't go for the item at the top. Generally, that is a warp whistle, but in this case, the warp whistles have been removed from the game, so we'd have gotten something else, like, say, a Tanuki suit, or a hammer suit, or who knows, or a hammer. Could be anything. The only thing we can say for sure is 1-6 will not be 1-6 because 1-6 has already been played. Okay, good. That was getting a little weird there. So 2-1, going against the grain of recent randomizers, at least that I've seen. No boss bass in 2-1. But the sun is out, and he makes life a little difficult for Classic, but he gets through just fine. So 1-6 is 3-3. Another favorite for Boss Bass, though not so much in the rando, but in vanilla, absolutely. Classic is, well, he's showing off a little with his speed strats and buzzsaws through the level. Like a pro. That was very impressive. Those of you wanting to learn how to speedrun this game, that's a good way. Watch that as Exhibit A for that level. So, Hammer Brothers, no problem there. Gets a star for a star. So, and the vanilla continues in World 1 with the World 1 airship for Larry. Larry's got Roy and Ludwig ability, but no problem there. And he's down at 2437. So he's halfway home at 24 minutes and 37 seconds. Still has to do worlds 3, 5, and 7. Potential for plenty of trolley behavior in those worlds. Particularly 3 and 7 with the pipe placement. See what first. And world 3. So he's gonna roll the dice and see what happens. And it's right to the end. It's Iggy's airship this time. So for those of you just joining us, this is the Mario 3 Randomizer tournament. This is a Group B matchup, the opening round-robin match between Jet, ABB, and ClassicGamer88. I'm Pro8007. I'm your commentator for today. I hope you all can hear me just fine. And right now, Classic Gamer is putting on a clinic for us today. He has done extremely well. He's through 5 worlds in 26 minutes. And some of that is due to good fortune, as we just saw in World 3, where he only had to go through 1 pipe and to reach the end. But he's also been extremely efficient in his movement. And has proven that his speedrun skills have really paid off today. World 7 is the 6th world he will be doing, and again, pipe placement is important here, and it's a good one. That's a very good one. Ideally, you want it to go to that pipe where he entered, or if you have a hammer, the one next to 7-9. Glad there's no echo, human. So 7-8 is 3-5 today. Now, if you had a P-wing, you could go just fly over the top of this. No problem. Jet is opting for the hammer in World 1, a good choice, especially given what we know about this. Mini Gooba's trying to slow him down. Classic goes to 7-9, which is 2-5. And enemy placements in here can make it a little challenging, but no problem for Classic. Gets through it just fine. So it's going to take on the Fortress, which is the World 8 Fortress. It was a biting relief. It is not actually the vanilla World 7 Fortress 2, which, as we have seen in previous runs, has made boys out of men. So forth. He takes the damage boost and gets the early gets the little clip there to the exit. Had to sacrifice Fire Mario for it, but it's all worth it. He's going to use the music box to skip the Piranha Plant and Vanilla World 7 Airship. The jump over the top. Thought he was might turn around for the power up, but he's decided to go through with it. Jet is about to finish the World 1. He's stopping for another item. Ludwig. He doesn't have heavy weight and only needs 2 hits. And Jet gets through World 6 in 29:23. So World 5, unfortunately for him, he's going to have to play most of it, especially since he doesn't have a hammer yet. Though he could pick one up from the Hammer Brothers, which would allow him to skip potentially 5, 4, 5, 5, and 5, 6/7. Now, in spite of that letter from Bowser, he actually does get an item. So 5-1 is 3-6 today. All random enemy placements slowing him down just a little bit, but he gets through it just fine. So 5-2 is 4-1 today. He's got the sun there, which will make the second half of this level a little challenging in spots. So he's not even moving. Okay, there he goes. Well, he's taking a couple of hits, but gets through. Jet gets through that was another lost level at 5-3, and Jet takes care of business with Wendy. So fortunately, still a full world down, but and then some. But we'll see how it goes. Classic has by and large ignored items. Jet hasn't, and hasn't quite provided a huge advantage, but it could very well. Skips the second Hammer Brother after getting a star from the first one and moves right on to the fourth that leads to the sky portion of World 5. Now the lost level we saw just a minute ago is a kind of a variation of what 7-1 would eventually become. More of a beta level than anything, but it's kind of interesting to have to swim up, especially since the swimming mechanics are a little wonky at times. No problems for Classic, goes straight on up, and so he doesn't have a hammer, so he has to do 5-4, which is the second hand level of World 8. Is also the shortest and the easiest of the three. And he gets a frog suit. No doubt he'll be using that any minute now. 5-5 is 3-7. And again, another level that's not too difficult, though the enemy placements can make things a little challenging, and didn't quite clear the jump there. But gets through it all the same. Jet didn't get to the music box correctly, so takes a hit, unfortunate hit. 5-7 is the quicksand level, World 2. Now, normally you'd have the sun making life miserable, but we do have a cheap there playing the role of Boss Bass today, and he's keeping Classic from doing his optimized speed strats. Kind of keeping cheap in his frame so he doesn't get blindsided at the end there, and it works out pretty well. Jet trying to go for a star, and unfortunately takes a hit in the process. World 8, World 5, Fortress 2 is the Air Force level from World 8. The auto-scroller part of the auto-scroller turned off for this is a little jarring at first because the auto-scroller for this level, unlike most of them, is actually really fast. So, you just barely have enough time to set your feet before you're being required to do the next jump. But Classic doesn't have any trouble with it. Even a small Mario. So, goes on to 5-8, which is 2-4. Another pretty easy level. Just got to watch out for the Hammer Brothers. Classic's ready for that. I think he was hoping to grab that second one, but second Koopa Troopa gets through. Good jump there to get rid of the flying Goomba, and gets rid of the fire trooper, no problem. Another World 8 hand level. This is the first one. Pretty, just requires a couple of pretty precise jumps, but otherwise not too bad. Classic on his way to the final airship, Lemmy's airship. It's actually kind of fun to use a P-Wing for this one. You get to see what the top of the airship looks like, which is not available to us in the vanilla game. You can, but you don't get to see what it looks like. Not all that impressive, I gotta be honest. Roy is the final Koopa kid for Bowser. Doesn't have his heavy power, but still be a troll, but he gets through it. 36-43 through 7 worlds. Very, very impressive, especially since he didn't use very many hammers or Lakitu clouds, except to get through all of this. So, props to Classic for putting on a show here, and props to Jet as well for after covering from a kind of a slow start, and he's now only a world behind, a full world, but I think he's got some items to make it to get himself a perfectly respectable time. So the 8 tank is 6-3. Look at this up, 6-2 and 6-3. 6-3 is not very difficult, just a lot of precise jumps. And yeah. Sure, my opponent from yesterday, Classic, a Killer App, would have loved to have this level instead of 7-8 to start off World 8. Poor guy. Bad for him. He did fine. So, the pipe placement, again, is all random and go straight to the end, or you go to the back end of the dark area, as Classic did here, and gets World 5 Fortress 2, and he's not stopping for anything. He's just going straight to the end. Not letting those fireballs or boos or whatever. So, the reason for taking the fortress is now he gets access to 3 pipes. In all probability, one of them is going to take him to the end. This one? No. So, it could very well be one of the bottom 2 pipes. We'll see. Not that one. Last chance before he has to start playing levels again. And he got it. And he gets the Fortress 1 from World 3. He won't get sub 40, but he's well on his way to an outstanding time. This might be the record for the tournament so far. Tournament is young, but he certainly created quite a benchmark. Go for he's gonna go for the World 8 Bowser skip. Calls for Bowser to be killed in a frog suit. Well, probably not going to happen, but see if Classic can get this wall clip, which will take him straight to the end. He's having a little trouble with it. As I've previously mentioned, in spite of Jet's kind of slow start, he is well on his way to a sub 50 for this seed if everything goes well. He picks the right pipes, and he should be able to. Jet's got going in. Classic has, by my count, a 3-minute and 22-second lead after World 7. Classic really going for it. He's really determined not to let this... almost had it there, I think. Not going to let this slow him down, but he's got to be careful. You're right. You all are right. Would it be faster to clear the stage at this point? Yeah, probably. Especially since he doesn't have the ability to do a quick kill with the hammer or the fireballs. But Classic is gotta admire the determination. But yeah, eventually you have to ask yourself, when is enough enough? And he got it. And I'm not even going to bother counting how many tries that took. Important thing is he got it. Okay, so Bowser can't do the quick kill on him with the fire or the hammers, but the funny thing with Bowser is his hitbox is only his head, so as long as he's small and stays pretty much right below where he's standing, he's never going to get hit. So this is a surprisingly disappointing final boss, to be honest, but that's another topic for another day. But the topic for right now is Classic Gamer has finished and closed it out. Impressive fashion, even with the little hiccups there at the end. And he has done with finished in first with an official SRL time of 43:04. That's outstanding. That, I think, is a tournament record for now. Very impressive. So GG to ClassicGamer88 for an extremely impressive run. He made few outright mistakes and played about as well as you could have hoped for. But Jet, for his credit, isn't that far off either. He's well on his way to about a 45-minute run. Especially if he keeps the hammer suit. 45-30 or so, I'd say. Gets the ceiling clip on the first try, no problem there. So wait a second, gets through, takes the top route. Sachets through the Bowsers. Through, so this will only take 5 hits. And he's got it. So, may not have looked at it at the outset, but that turned into a much closer race than you would have thought. And Jet has done with the official SRL time of 45:05. So, you know, that's impressive. That's incredibly efficient play by both of our runners, and they did it in very different ways. Classic just ran through it and without really using too many items, and Jet did a very good job using those items, especially late, and really put the screws. Even though he doesn't know it, he put the screws to Classic. If Classic, kept missing that clip, this could have been much less than 2 minutes. It could have come down to a matter of seconds. That clip's not easy. Try and get them in for an interview here. Like they're getting. Thank you, Human. Appreciate it. Hope everyone enjoyed the commentary and there wasn't too much weirdness going on in the background. And once again, give these guys a follow if you haven't already. They really, by this level of play, they absolutely deserve it. They deserve for time and attention. Hear me, guys?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first off, GG's to both of you. That was an impressive race all the way around, I must say.
Yeah. Congrats, Classic.
Well, so Classic, you were really determined to get that clip at the end there. You really wanted it.
Yeah, I wanted to throw some swag, as I was been throwing a lot of swag throughout the match, and I was like, you know what, let me go for that, since I was doing that a lot in my practice runs, and it almost cost me really bad, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna get it. I don't care.
Yeah, and Jet, using his hammers and his Lakitu clouds, was able to really close the gap late and make a race out of this, because kind of a slow start, but he came on strong there at the end.
Yeah, some early deaths definitely cost me.
But
I'm glad somebody got hammered.
But even with the early deaths aside, 45:05, that's really good.
Not a bad run, not a bad seed. Really easy, or not easy, but really generous as far as easy World 3, quick World 7.
Yeah, you guys skipped a lot of like the really trolly levels. No 6-6, no 7-5, no 7-4, no 7-8. You got a lot of quick levels, and the ones that were trolly, you both unanimously said, we ain't doing this. We're going to and you got what was nice is you got the choice here. You had the Lakitu clouds like saying, yeah, we're not doing this. Oh.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
what kind of interested me is you guys kind of went at the run slightly differently. Classic, it pretty much ignored the end cards and the items. He's like, I know this game. I'm just going to go through with it.
Well,
you're-
seeing as I have the worst luck, RNG loves me for the wrong reasons. I just said, you know what? I played one, got star in a music box. I said I'm done with the ends paid.
Okay. And you, Jet, you spend a little more time with the item boxes and the end cards. They really helped you cut a lot of time down the stretch, especially in the second half of the run.
Yeah, I kept going back to it. I made a match immediately, and then I couldn't get one for a few rounds, and then I picked up a few, and I kept getting hit. I kept losing my power up, so I kept going back to the mushroom houses. It was pretty sloppy, but it happens.
Yeah. And I've been asked, Classic, from the Twitch chat, why did you skip the whistle in World 1, in the World 1 Fortress?
Why did I skip the whistle? Because I wanted to fight Boom Boom. He's my homie.
Yeah.
I must have skipped that one.
Yeah. And I've also been told you have a love for the coin ships, Classic.
Coin ships? What are those? Don't remind me.
Alright, well, it's not a big deal.
Lost a couple runs to him, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Who hasn't, though? Who hasn't?
Let's put it this way. I'm well known for a coin ship you can get in World 5, and I deemed it the ClassicGamer88 coin ship because you get it with 88 coins. So
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, explains a lot already, doesn't it? Either of you have any thoughts or impressions? You said in the SRL chat it was a fairly generous seed. Anything else kind of stand out to you?
Not really. I'm looking forward to the next matches, and best of luck to Classic.
Yeah. Looks like Group B is going to be an interesting one. We've had 2 matches, and both of them were a lot closer than you would have thought going in. The first one between Claris and Fred was, 90 seconds, and today it was only 2 minutes. And
Right.
you guys, in both in your own ways, really put on a clinic for for our viewers today.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough road to the brackets in this group.
I think you're right.
Thank
you're
RNG. The next one's gonna be horrible. I can.
Right. Next one's gonna be over, guaranteed over an hour. All the worst stages, the worst overworld pipes. Just wait.
Well, I think there's a lesson in that. Prepare for the hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
There you go.
Absolutely. Also, I want to thank Jetabb for the awesome race. Pro for throwing down your commentary. Gonna go watch that later to see all the cool things you were saying. Thank you for everybody that watched. Organizers, Big John for hosting this tournament, and Speed Gaming for having us. Thank you all so much. Amazing.
Thanks.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I'll say right now, nothing I said was cool. So, one more thing before we go. Super Bowl's in 4 hours. Who are you predicting will win?
Classic gonna go first.
Anybody but the Patriots.
And I'm gonna say don't bet against the Patriots.
Don't bet against the Patriots and anybody but the Patriots. Well, my heart says the Eagles, but my head, I just can't do it. I'm gonna go with the Patriots on this one. So sorry if there are any Philadelphia Eagles fans. It's nothing against you. I'm gonna go with the Patriots on this one. Even though I'm dying a little inside saying it.
No, don't worry. I'll just go check the camera surveillance and make sure the Patriots didn't slip some money in the ref's pocket. You know how they do.
Well, it's like the old saying: if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
But come on.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks to our 2 runners for their time there, and I think that's all I have. Once again, give these 2 guys a follow if you haven't already, or hell, give me a follow if you want. Although my runs aren't nearly as interesting as what they put on today, but who knows? Maybe you'll find something interesting. interesting. But I think that's all for me today. Thanks again to Speed Gaming, Clifford for stepping in at the last minute and making this all work. Did a really good job, and appreciate the time you all spent, and hope you all have a great weekend and a great rest of the week. Thanks.